My name is Daria. Welcome to Scrum Master video series where I give you practical tips on how to build awesome teams. Now, this is the video number 3 in the 3-part series on Agile metrics for Scrum Masters. In the previous 2 videos, we talked about creating a done increment every sprint, as well as establishing Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide. Now, in this video, we will be looking at the last 3rd part of some of the metrics that you can implement as a Scrum Master to help you see whether you're being successful. If you haven't seen the previous 2 videos, I'm going to link them down in the description. So go watch them first and then come back to finish the 3-part series on Agile metrics. The Scrum Guide tells us that the Scrum Master is accountable for the effectiveness of the Scrum team. Now, for me, there are a couple of things that we can look into that can help us identify whether your team is actually being effective. Scrum team being high performing and improving continuously. I'm going to give you 3 points that can help you define some evaluation metrics for this category. Now, first of all, how is your team morale and overall health? Well, this can be an easy self-assessment metric on team happiness index, for example, right? You might be collecting this every day or maybe every sprint to see how your team is actually feeling. Do they like coming to work? Do they like being part of the Scrum team? Are they happy with what they're doing, with the product they're delivering? Are they actually happy to work together? So those are just some simple self-assessment metrics that can help you identify whether your team is being really enjoying the Scrum framework, getting the benefits of the Scrum framework. Because at the end of the day, Scrum is there not only obviously to create product that customers love, but also to create a work environment where teams thrive, where people actually enjoy what they do and enjoy building products. They're self-motivated, right? So this is an easy way to help you start discovering whether you're doing a great job as a Scrum Master, helping your team be happy, keeping the team morale high, and the team health high. Now, you can also use different models that can help you identify where your team is at. For example, the Tuckman stages of group development. As we know, the team goes through 4 different stages, forming, storming, norming, performing. So we want to get your team to the performing stage to get the full benefits of teamwork. Now, you can use that model, try to evaluate where your team is at on this journey, either actually at the performing stage. You can also use, for example, the model of the 5 dysfunctions of a team by Patrick Lancioni. So this can be a model that can help you identify, is your team actually showing, portraying the 5 assets of the team, or are they portraying any of the dysfunctions? While it's not a quantitative metric, it can be easily used to help you identify where your team is at, right, in terms of their morale and overall health. What is the level of cross-functionality and teamwork on your team? Now, the term that we often hear and use is a high-performing team. One of the things that obviously represent and show that the high-performing team is high-performing is the results, right? Actually delivering some great results that customers and stakeholders love. We discussed that in the first part of this video series, delivering a done increment every single sprint. But there are other factors that can actually help us define whether our team is being a high-performing team. And some of them can be called a teamwork factor or a skill spread factor. A teamwork factor, which is, by the way, a made-up name, this is something that shows us how often does your team actually work as a team instead of just a bunch of individuals working solo. How often does your team pair program, shares tasks, or exchanges tasks? How often do they work together on the same maybe feature or functionality? So that can help you define whether your team is truly working as a cohesive unit, right? Rather than just a group of individuals. And the skill spread knowledge is also can be on the other side used or called as the buzz factor. Basically shows you how many people on your team actually possess different skills, and do you actually have, say, one person, a single point of contact for a certain part of the product. Because if you only have one person, well, obviously you have very low buzz factor in a way that exposes your team to a lot of risks. So this is something that you can do through various assessments and surveys such as skills matrix to help your team understand whether there needs to be some knowledge sharing happening to create really cross-functional team that is not too codependent on a single person, for example. And the last point I want to highlight is your team actually improving. Now, this one is pretty straightforward. This is just a way for you to analyze whether your team is implementing improvements as they work together. So you can look back at your retrospective results and see what are some of the experiments or improvements your team actually implemented in the past 3 months, 6 months, whatnot. And what were the results of those experiments? How often does your team go back to review those results and maybe adapt the solutions if something didn't really work out for them? So that can be a good way for you to understand whether your team is actually using the full benefits of Scrum and obviously retrospectives to inspect and adapt on a regular basis. Agile metrics is a pretty complicated topic, and it's difficult to really cover everything in even a few videos. But I really hope that I gave you some ideas of where you can start to understanding whether you're going in the right direction with your team, whether you're actually getting to the success state of Scrum. Obviously, the whole point of metrics is not just to collect them and track them in order to define whether a team is being effective or is performing as they should, but it's really to help you start conversations, around what is still not working, where can we improve, where we can really get better at implementing Scrum, at implementing agility in our organization and in our team, and get higher benefits of that implementation. So it's a conversation starter really, and it's also a good way for you to understand where you should focus on next as a Scrum Master, to give you some of that action plan and in a way guidelines to help you move towards more successful Scrum and actually being more successful yourself as a Scrum Master. Those metrics can be very helpful as well in showing your worth to your organization and your management if they're still not convinced around Scrum and Agile. So those metrics can show you what you have accomplished and what is those benefits that the organization could actually get from Scrum implementation. Now, as always, I really hope that you learned something new today. And if you did, remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel. As always, I do share more insights, more resources for Scrum Masters back at my website at scrummaster.com. And my online course, Success with Agile Scrum, is available for registration. So head back to scrummaster.com/success to learn more, because I think that is a good opportunity for you to keep growing as a Scrum Master, keep improving and helping your organization be even more successful. I really hope to see you next time. Cheers and Scrum on!